Lovely to see you, to be with you, to be with you as presence, to be with you as yourself, to be with you without being somebody, to be with you without knowing you, and to be with you without knowing what I am, yet happy in being, and happy as being without knowing. So welcome. Welcome yourself as myself. Welcome yourself as the self, as the only reality welcoming itself, loving itself, loving its creation and its creativity. So welcome. We invite ourselves and invite each other to be not knowing, to be this open space, this open, loving, effortlessly loving space that perceives through all perceptions directly from the heart to the heart recognizing itself and loving itself. Bodies appear, they change. Thoughts appear and change. Sensations, feelings, memories. A movement, a flow that does not disturb our reality, that does not disturb our love for each other and our love for truth. How lovely it is to be pure being, undefined, unconstrained, free from the past and the future, and yet welcoming the past and the future as appearances, as a play, the play of mind, the play of perception, the play of memory, not being disturbed, not trying to get somewhere, not trying to achieve anything for somebody, but for everybody. What we can achieve for everybody is the recognition of our oneness, of our totality, of our wholeness, the recognition of our true self as love, not from one person to another person, but love eternal. When we are not assuming ourselves to be a man, a woman, to be somebody, there is freedom. Freedom from any assumptions, from any self-definition, which comes from the past. The reality of consciousness, the reality of awareness, do not exist in time. You are not a stream of thoughts. You are not a bundle of sensations and feelings. You are not historical. Our essential nature, this moment and every moment, is this simple, effortless presence. Our ordinary awareness, which is invisible phenomenally, but it is known as I am aware. A non-phenomenal recognition. Awareness recognizing itself, knowing itself, independent of the senses, independent of memory, independent of perception, independent of thought, a direct recognition, a direct knowingness. Our essential nature, this effortless, ordinary awareness, is that which is extraordinary. That we know we are. That we know we are aware. Is that not magical? Just simple knowingness. Which does not need to rely on anything. Enlightenment is not some extraordinary experience, a bolt of lightning. There may be some aha moments throughout our life that reveal our true nature, but our true nature is this moment and every moment. How could you get away from that which you are? How could you be anything else but that which you are? Which is not something which appears to you, which is not a body, which is not a mind, which is not a story which appears to you, but the reality of perception, the reality that perceives, the reality that knows itself. How could you be anything else but that? Sometimes we expect some magic show, something fantastic happening. We seek and we expect very special experience. What sort of self-torture is that? Dissing this aware presence, our natural state, our natural effortless reality, dissing this reality in exchange for some extraordinary mind state, extraordinary experience that we can be proud of. And can we simply relax as presence? Let go of the past, of the future, of all this knowledge, accumulated knowledge, and be innocent, to be fresh. A new script, no script, just this moment, a moment of being, of presence. How could it be that this is not sufficient? It can only appear sufficient when we are expecting something else. And our expectations, they come from the past. They come from memory. They come from stories and tales. And they are full of disappointment. Expectation and disappointment, they go hand in hand. Can we simply be as we are, this effortless presence, not knowing, not accumulating, not defining ourselves, not defining the other? Like the blooming of a flower, a rose that's blooming. This moment, in each fresh moment, each moment, complete freshness. No story, not trying to become beautiful, not trying anything. Just being out of the way, allowing the universe to bloom as it wishes. Because everything which appears within consciousness, within awareness. That which is changeless in your experience, that which is not in time in your experience, that which your true self, which is not a body, which is not a mind, that which without which there can be no body and no mind. The essential, the essence, that which cannot not be. You are lacking nothing as consciousness, as reality. You will only experience lack whenever you define yourself in some phenomenal manner. But what if you don't? What if you leave the stage open as it is? Allowing the universe to do its universing, which is consciousness, consciousnessing. You don't need to separate anything. The mind can make distinctions, and that's fine. No issue with that. But don't confuse distinctions to refer to separation. The waves that appear on the surface of the ocean, they're distinct, but their reality is water, one reality. So is yours. Your reality as this infinite, invisible presence. Infinite, invisible presence. Awareness. So if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please make sure to unmute yourself in the reaction icon at the bottom of your screen. There's also, you can also raise your hand if you'd like to. And you're welcome to turn on your video if you care to. So any questions? Hey. Is that Wes or?
Yes, Wes.
Oh, hello, Wes.
Hello, Magdi. Thanks so much. Wow. It's a complex task to define the basic awareness using words. We are using so many words to define that. And the question is that, for me, awareness is also include all disturbances or emotions, even striving for awareness, even grasping awareness. For me, it's a package deal, all it's included. And maybe the explanation is in the old statement that I am in the world, but I am not of it.
Yes, everything is one reality. There is no two, no duality within reality. One could say that when consciousness or awareness is seeking itself, whether it is seeking itself externally in experiences, in situations, in mind states, in various forms, or whether it's seeking itself nominally, sort of asking itself, what am I? What is the reality that perceives? In both cases, it is consciousness playing the game of whatever you call it, playing the game of veiling itself from itself and seeking to recognize itself. Now, whenever consciousness is within this game that it's playing, is seeking itself externally, seeking itself in experiences, in mind states, in wonderful relationships that can bring you happiness, or in all sorts of financial gains that can bring you happiness. What is experienced is a sense of lack, the sense of separation, and mostly this incompleteness. And whenever consciousness turns its attention towards what is the reality that perceives, or what is the reality of my experience, now it is turning in a different direction than the direction of phenomenal appearances. And that path within the game is the direct path. The path from consciousness to consciousness is the direct path. The indirect path would be to seek, try to find oneself, try to find happiness in experiences, in rituals, in various practices, in various pursuits. So you could say that, yes, nothing is excluded. Unhappiness is not excluded within consciousness. But of what use is it to say that? Of what use? What matters is the understanding that one path is torturous, that one path is mostly unhappy with certain moments of happiness. And the other path is whatever it is, it's to be explored. So we explore the path, the direct path. We explore the path that investigates what is the reality, what is reality, what is the reality of consciousness, what is consciousness. So if you're interested in writing a dissertation about consciousness, you could say, yeah, consciousness includes everything, including happiness and unhappiness. You could say that, because whenever consciousness veils itself, is unhappiness. Whenever consciousness identifies itself with the body, with the mind, with a certain historical entity, there is unhappiness. But we're not interested in writing a treatise or writing a paper or dissertation about consciousness. We're interested in happiness. We're interested in the experience of happiness. We're interested in understanding. So, okay, I would grant with you that consciousness does not exclude anything, of course. But it's academic for me. What is more significant for me is the experience of happiness, is the experience of peace, not the peace that comes and goes, but the peace that bypasses the mind, that bypasses time and space. Now, there are some teachings that teach that consciousness, meaning happiness, because consciousness is happiness, knowing oneself, consciousness knowing itself, includes unhappiness. And my interpretation is that teachers cannot teach that which they do not know. They only teach what they know. So if their experience is both happiness and unhappiness, they teach that reality is both happiness and unhappiness. That is not what I share. I do not share that consciousness knowing itself includes unhappiness, or includes delusion, or includes a sense of lack. But again, every person sings their song the way their experience, hopefully they're speaking their experience, and they're on the rooftop singing their experience to whoever is interested in hearing their experience. I sing my own. In fact, whenever we are seeking happiness phenomenally, in an experience or in mind state or in a certain high, we'll experience a certain tension because we are seeking that happiness. There is a tension. And the moment that tension is relieved, we experience peace. And the tension is relieved whenever our desire is fulfilled. So our desire is the fulfillment of our desire, which reveals desirelessness. So the experience of happiness is in fact desirelessness. And the experience of unhappiness is being personally desirous. Desiring. Personal desire and the sense of lack are the two sides of the same coin. you don't want to go to a therapist who is full of psychological problems. You go to them and you tell them, oh my God, I'm so depressed. And the therapist goes, oh yeah, me too, welcome to the club. What sort of... Okay, Wes?
You see, I apply the teaching in my profession to help people who face health challenge, often dramatic health challenge, often life-threatening health challenge, when the state is defined by desire to either stay alive or to be healthy or whatever. There's plenty of desire, and desire is actually necessary for people to have juice to survive. So, we are talking about different universe, different life situation, I believe.
Well, the body-mind is wired for survival, food, shelter, and clothing, health, belonging to the tribe, being secure. So that's a different dimension. That is the world, the body-mind wiring. So the body-mind is wired to survive, is wired to join the strongest tribe. It's wired to maintain its health, to feed the body, and so that's the dimension of the body-mind. The belief that I am the body-mind, that the identification with the body-mind adds a psychological sense of survival, which is quite different from the physical wiring at the DNA level for survival. There is a psychological sense of survival where we would perceive, oh my God, what's going to happen to me, after I die? What's going to happen to me if I get insulted? What's going to happen to my future? So there are desires that are rooted in the psychological sense of self, in the belief that that happiness, that peace and happiness are tied in to the body-mind. So yeah, from the perspective of being fully identified with the body-mind, we experience, we perceive, and we experience, and we feel that our happiness is a body-mind dependent. That yes, if we have good food, shelter, and clothing, safety, and good friendships, we belong to the right tribe, that we will be happy. That's from the perspective of being totally identified psychologically with the body-mind. And in time, we realize that, goodness, I've got food, shelter, and clothing, and I'm still not happy. what's wrong here? Oh, well, my grandfather mistreated me, or I'm afraid of dying, or is my soul going to go to transmigrate into a better body mind? All sorts of issues will arise, or we may realize that in spite of having food, shelter, and clothing, the bar somehow got higher. Now we need better. We need instead of having a nice plot of land with vegetables and root plants to feed us. Now we need to have I don't know, caviar. We need to have lobster. We find that the bar of satisfaction just keeps rising. So there is this psychological element to desire. There is, of course, physical needs, which are, as you say, very appropriate and have their place, which are the needs for food, shelter, and clothing, and friendship, and social integration, which is quite different from personal desire. Now, you need to make that distinction for yourself, not so much for anybody else. You need to have clarity for yourself between needs and desire, personal desires. Now, there are impersonal desires, but we can talk about that at another point in time if that question arises. Okay, Rez. Any questions? Oh, hello, David. I see your hand is up. Let me see. You may need to unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, okay.
Oops, are we done here? Here we go.
Yes.
So you give an invitation to ask questions. So my question is, why ask questions?
You ask a question because there is a question. You don't ask a question because there isn't a question. There is no why to it. There is a question that arises. It arises within consciousness, out of consciousness, within your mind. It appears to you. The question appears to you. Why ask questions? So you pose the question, why ask questions? So we ask question because there is a question. You perceive the question and it speaks to you, and you recognize that this question is appearing, and you feel, okay, let me share this question, see what this question is about, because the question in a way is looking for its own resolution. There is no personal doer in that. It is just, it's appearing to you. The question appears to you or not. It may not be a question that appears to you. And you may choose to share the question, pose the question or not. The decision to share the question also appears to you. It appears to you within you. Yeah, I'd like to ask this question. Let me ask this question. And so you're noticing that this question is being asked. You hear the question and you hear the answer.
I guess
yes.
What is behind this for me is though it seems as though a mental concept is a form of violence.
Well, how could it be? Like the mental concept of, for example, the concept of tomorrow. That's a concept, right? Or the concept of unicorn. That's a concept too. What sort of violence is there to a concept? I mean, even to say that today is Sunday, in a way, it's a concept. But what violence is there in the concept itself.
Correct.
I'm not saying no, I'm just wondering, I'm just trying to understand, just
So am I.
to see what you're trying to say, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question.
I'm asking you back, I guess.
So
I don't see
I guess it's
concepts are innocent tools, excuse me, they're tools of communication, of conceptual sharing, sharing images. Somehow we are able to communicate via concepts, there is a meaning somehow that's projected or that's shared within concepts. They're like stepping stones in a way, or tools of communication, abstract tools, I agree, to share, to explore language. I mean, most of language is conceptual. I mean, right now, as we're speaking, it's 99, maybe 100% concept. I mean, as a tool. But yet what's being portrayed, what's being shared, is not the concept. It's a meaning. There is a meaning being shared using concepts as a tool, like as a raft in a way, or as a instrument,
Yeah, actually, it's phenomenal in a sense that it can be stuck in a concept of the mind out of assumption. And actually, I've found that's violence. And that's why it's good to actually ask questions.
Yes.
Because then that takes me out of my assumption
Yes.
of what I might have in a mental concept to communicate and have an understanding of some form of truth.
Yes.
Whatever it may be. Yeah.
Yes. There is a difference between a concept, which is a tool, and a belief. Belief. A belief is not based on any facts, because once it's based on evidence, if a belief has evidence that demonstrates its validity, it no longer becomes a belief, it becomes a fact, because there is data that's showing, at least sufficient data, which may change. We may find further down the line there are other data that appears to us that may shift our previous position. But there is I would say, maybe you want to use the word violence, since you shared that earlier, in a belief, because a belief is sort of, it's imposed onto the mind, but there is no evidence that sustains it to turn it into a fact. It's like believing that Santa Claus is real, or it is no fact that sustains that. It's just pure belief, and that's where the violence is. In our Advaita, in our meetings, we talk quite often about the belief that I, meaning the reality that perceives, I, awareness, I, consciousness, is David, that I is Magdi, that I, this awareness, is dependent on the body mind, or arises out of the brain, or resides inside a certain form. Now, that belief, when we look at that belief, when we investigate this belief, we don't find any validation for that. We find that the body mind, memories, perceptions, stories about David, or memories of David being 15-year-old, or David with his parents, or David traveling, going on vacation with his friends, they appear within awareness. They do not appear within David. They don't appear within the thought. Thoughts appear within awareness. images appear within awareness, sensations appear within awareness. In this moment, this conversation is appearing within awareness, not within a David, within awareness. That's our experience. So there is that main belief that consciousness is dependent on the body mind, or resides in the brain, or resides in the body, or resides, I don't know, in the heart, whatever. This belief needs to be investigated. It's crucial to investigate this belief, because as long as there is this belief that consciousness depends on the body mind, there is the sense of threat, the fear of death, because the death of the body means the death of consciousness. If consciousness resides within the body, or arises out of the brain, it means that the death or the decay of the brain, which is bound to happen, we all know that, would mean the decay and the death of consciousness, of I. See, that's an important inquiry that no one can do for yourself but yourself. You can do this inquiry into the belief that you, meaning the reality which perceives right now, is a male reality, or a female reality, or a tall reality, or a short reality, or a white reality, or a black reality. You have to investigate that the reality that perceives right now, the belief that this reality is inside the brain, or is outside the body, or is more to the right or to the left, or etc. You see, that's the violence. I mean, I usually don't use that word, but just I'm sort of piggybacking on your initial word. You see, so that the beliefs, when the beliefs have been seen through, have been contemplated, have been investigated, either we come upon a fact, and when there is a fact, there is peace. Okay, a fact is a fact. If you drop a glass from a certain height onto a marble floor, that glass is going to shatter. We've done that experiment 100 times. We know that. That's a fact. A fact, there is no issue with the fact. So either this belief, the investigation of this belief, will lead to the fact, and then understanding there is peace when there is a fact, or it leads you to dropping that belief, because there is no evidence. If there's no evidence for that belief, and you've investigated it enough, it cannot stand on quicksand. It is going to go into the quicksand. And what remains? What remains is clarity, just presence, being without the belief, meaning awareness, consciousness, without any belief about consciousness. You see? So the issue that we have is that we know that we are. I know I am. That is not an issue. But I believe that I am a body mind, that I am this, I am that. There is no need to believe that you, meaning consciousness, is this or that. But you cannot drop that belief without investigating it. You have to investigate that this belief is actually just a castle of cards. It's just a bunch of cards. Is no structure. Is no skeleton to this belief. And this is what we do here. We try to expose this belief. We try to shed some light, turn on the light onto this belief, investigate this belief. This is why we invite each other to share questions, to pose questions, because within our investigation, sometimes we have some doubts about what we are looking at. And so when we bring up the question, when the question arises, hopefully we get this question gets satisfied and there is no more question until the next question arises, if ever or whenever it arises.
I guess my initial tension or whatever it is was actually around by speaking up, by asking a question, seems as though it's violence to the peace, quiet, and stillness.
Mm. Well, a question can arise within.
That's where it came from.
I understand.
Sorry?
I was saying that a question can arise within the peace because it can arise out of interest. And interest is a form of love. An interest is a form of love. So when a question arises out of interest, because it's arising out of a form of love, it's not, there is no violence in interest or in love.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Wow.
And interest in truth. Interest in truth is a great interest. It's an interest. It's not an interest in self-gain or self-aggrandizement, or it's an interest in truth. And truth is universal. It's not my truth or your truth. It's an interest in truth. You see. And we all share this interest. You know, we all, in one way or the other, we are interested in truth, we're interested in peace, we're interested in happiness, in everything we do. When we're working very hard to earn money, and so we're interested in happiness, we're interested in happiness and peace are not two. It's just that pursuing truth and happiness in money doesn't deliver the goods.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, David, nice talking with you. Thanks. Any questions? Oh, hey, Mark, I see your hand is up. Let me see.
Hi, Magdi.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, hello. I know you mentioned, impersonal desires, I think, when you were talking with Wes, and I am interested in hearing more, or hearing what your thoughts, maybe examples on impersonal desires.
A very good example of personal desire is the desire to join this meeting. We joined this meeting because we love coming together, being with friends. We love the meditation. We love exploring questions about consciousness. So if you take a look at whatever draws you to join this meeting overall, I mean, if that's the case, which is love and interest. There are many examples of impersonal desires, like the desire to travel to Baja California that arises out of you. Somehow this appears to you, oh wow, it'd be great to just go down to Baja California and hang out there and experience the desert, or experience the journey and meet with friends, and desire to play music or to learn a language, or to whatever desire arises to you out of love, out of interest, out of joy, out of it's not about it's not that I have to.
I think I see.
Yeah, desire to invite friends, or to visit friends, or the desire to cook pasta tonight. Oh, gee, I'd love to cook pasta tonight, and I haven't
desires that don't come from a sense of lack.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Desires
Or from a sense of a personal limited me
absolutely
that needs something.
Yes, they appear
it's more
to
of a happy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like a friend of mine recently told me, oh, I'm in satsang, and a question arose to me, and I'm afraid of asking it. But if a question arises to you, it arises from consciousness. It's like suddenly you're interested in asking a question about impersonal desire. You heard Magdi mentioning impersonal desire. This thought appeared to you. Oh wow, what? Let me I'm interested in what would be examples of that. So that's a good example. The desire to ask this question is an impersonal desire, because this question appears to you impersonally. It's not I have to know, or else I will become a lesser self, or I'll be yes, whatever appears to you through you, it comes to you through you. In fact, when you take a closer look, you will find that all desires, even what seems to be a personal desire, is in fact impersonal. It's a desire, it's a thought that's coming from consciousness through the belief, through the filter of I am Magdi, and so there is the impression that this desire is in fact my personal desire. But there is no personal desire. All desires are God's desire. There is the impression, the filtering of all desires, impersonal desire, into a personal desire, because there is this it has to go through the filter of the me. And so when we contemplate that this me filter is just an unnecessary filter, it's just an abstract filter about me. I am somebody in time. I am somebody who's continuing in time, who exists in time. This is my history. But as a history of the body is not my history, because I have no history. The body has a history. The mind has history, but I have no history, you see. So when there is that understanding about the reality of I, then the filters, like the webs, like a net, very tightly woven net to catch the small fish, becomes a net with the bigger holes, and eventually there is no net, because there is the deep understanding that there is no person, that I refers to awareness, and everything is awareness. There is nothing that is experienced, no impossible for anything existing without awareness. What would that be? So all there is awareness, everything is awareness. And so whatever thoughts are appearing to awareness. Your thoughts and my thoughts are not different. They come from the same source. They are different in that, your thoughts about your mother and my thoughts about to dinner tonight are different thoughts, but in essence, they're not different. Like the leaves on the tree, every leaf of the tree is different. Every wave on the ocean is different from the perspective of looking at that way. But in essence, they're all water. They're all the same reality. You see?
Oh, yeah.
So we start from
yeah.
we start from the personal All desires are personal. I'm the doer, you know. But as we investigate more and more, the holes in the net becomes wide, bigger and bigger, and eventually, there's only God, and only God's will and God's doing, moment by moment, creation and creativity, moment by moment. The freshness of creativity and of creation, moment by moment. And we are that. We are that. We are the potential and the kinetic. The potential, the infinite potential, and the kinetic, the creativity. Shiva and Shakti. The unmanifested.
I will look at this more. I have to look deeply at the if there's the origin of desire. It seems
Yes.
if I understood you, it's all from the same source, yes. And then it's just a matter of that the belief system has filtered it into something that says it's just for the little me.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess there are desires that are inclusive and exclusive, right, of others, and there's desires that are benevolent and maybe some that are not. So it'd be obvious, I guess, which ones of those are.
All impersonal desires will be benevolent. Benevolent by their very essence. Benevolent in that if you want to learn to play the piano, there's no harm being caused to anybody. You know, if you want to invite friends to have dinner with you and you want to treat everybody to the movies or whatever, that's benevolent. You know, all impersonal desires are benevolent. The only time that there is an issue with the benevolence of desire is when it's filtered through the me, when it becomes a personal desire. What's in it for me? What can I get out of this relationship? What can I get out of him? What can I get out of her? How will I be advantaged, you know, in this relationship? So it's important that you take a look at what is behind the scene, what is the source of your desire. And you can pursue any desire that comes to you that's impersonal, and to proceed very carefully when you notice that the desire is arising out of a sense of me, out of fear, out of worry, out of concern, out of unhappiness. So a desire that is seeking happiness, that's a personal desire. But a desire that arouses out of freedom and out of happiness is an impersonal desire. You have to discern it. Sort of.
I have a. There's a. I'm trying to look at something. I don't think we can do it now, but I'll look more deeply after. But there's a desire that came to me a while back that was very clearly selfish and you know, limited me desire, and so for this thing that happened, and then now since I've looked at it, I've really struggled with this one. I've looked at it real hard. I'll continue to look at it. I have to, but now it seems that I may have this somehow. The source of the desire seems to have changed to a benevolent one, and yet it's the same outcome somehow, which seems strange to me. I don't know. Did that make any sense? It's the same. Well, it's the same image in my mind of wanting something, but it's for a different reason. It's very. I think it's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. Well, a personal desire can change to be an impersonal desire upon seeing the futility of proceeding in the personal.
Oh yeah.
There can be a shift. You know, desire can still be there and transform, be more impersonal. in terms of the output or outcome or what unfolds, remain open, remain not knowing, remain available for to be surprised. Don't focus on, oh, well, this is what happened. Don't remain unfocused, because it's not about the outcome. It's about the celebration of the impersonal desire. It's about the exploration of the impersonal desire, and the outcome or output or what will follow can change, but that does not matter. Huh?
The details aren't that they could just let that go.
It does
the
not
detail,
matter.
leave the details up to God.
Yes, because the
to
impersonal desire is not yours. It is God's desire. It's not your desire. So if there is any outcome that is fishy, then it's for whoever sourced the desire to take care of it. You follow? It's not your business.
Yes. Excellent. That's helpful, Magdi. Thank you.
Yes.
Very good.
Okay.
All set with that.
Where are you now?
Oh, in the desert still. It's
Yeah.
been cold.
Yes.
This is near quartzite still. I need to go to, I have a few things to do in Northern California later this week, and then I'm still hoping to get to Temecula.
Yeah.
Still
Right.
on my list, my to do.
Okay. Okay, well, enjoy, and stay warm, keep warm.
Yeah, it's gonna get warmer, I guess.
Okay.
It's good that California got so much rain and snow.
Yeah. Out here you can see some of the snow on the mountains, which is not, we rarely see that, but seems that the temperatures have been cooler than the past years.
Down to 1,000 feet, I heard, for snow level.
Yeah. All right, man. Good to see you. Okay. Yes. Okay. Any questions? Okay, well, very lovely to be with you all. David and Mark. Hello, Trish. Frank, Holger. Hello, Holly. Lisa. Hi, Lisa. And John. And my sweetheart, Tara. Thank you all.